Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod with Lizzy Mulherin. She is a freelance feature writer, an author, founder at Right On Brand, head copywriter, Darren, brand strategist. We're going to talk about copywriting. We're going to talk about AI copywriting apps and everything in between. This podcast is brought to you by my company, which is called podbuyer.com. It's a podcasting agency. If you need help start, scale, or be invited to podcasts, we can also help you find sponsors. We're pro at monetizing podcasts, and podcasts are the greatest growth flywheel I have experienced in the last couple of years. They're just incredible to learn from people, meet new people like Lizzy, and even get clients and leads off them. So podbuyer.com if you need help with your pod. Lizzy, welcome to the pod. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and about Right On Brand?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. As you said, I'm the founder and head copywriter at Right On Brand. I started that business about 4 years ago, left full-time employment for good and haven't looked back since. So we do a range of feature writing. I do feature writing for national and international publications, talking about anything from health to relationships to travel and everything in between. I also do brand strategy for businesses of all shapes and sizes across all industries. I never niched down, which is a little bit controversial, but I really like variety. So I have kept my business broad. So I can work within a day, anyone from premium fashion brands to government agencies to small businesses and everything in between.
You write a lot about femtech as well. So what's happening in this world and why is that important for you?
Yeah, that's been a topic of a few of my articles recently because I am 33, which is the age that everyone's starting to think about fertility. I get targeted a lot with apps and software and programs around fertility, and that sort of really piqued my interest in this space, and I started looking into it, and it's quite an interesting industry. It's privatized, which means it's for profit, and there's a lot of growth in that space, which can be a really good thing, but also can be a potentially dangerous thing and something that people need to be, I think, a little bit discerning about. So I've written about that for Marie Claire, Refinery 29, and a few others. So it's an interesting space to watch for sure.
Copywriting and AI. How are you using AI to copyright better? For example, me, I use it as a brainstorm partner to get ideas of campaigns or ideas of punchlines or headlines that I can write for my clients in a cold email copywriting context. How do you use it on your side?
Yeah, such a good question. AI in the copywriting world is such a contentious thing. I think a lot of copywriters are really scared of it and still really resisting it. But I strongly advise everyone to embrace it, especially copywriters, because it's here and it's going to be getting more and more prevalent. I use it. I use ChatGPT quite often. I've played around with a few other apps like Jasper AI and Copy AI. Similar to you, I definitely use it as a brainstorm partner. So if I'm writing about a new industry or a totally new area for me, which is often, as I said, I work with all different kinds of businesses from all different industries, I will use it to sort of give me a bit of a context, a bit of an overview for a new area. If I want some help brainstorming some headlines, I can ask it to have, a few headline sort of brainstorms for me. And even though I don't ever use the copy directly from it, sometimes it will have just like a nice little phrasing or, something that it includes will just pique an idea for me, and it really helps.
You're well-traveled as well as a nomad. I think at some point you were. What did you learn from your experiences there, and how did you intertwine that with writing?
Oh, yeah. So travel, when I was entering my 20s, it was just all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was travel and write. So I basically shaped all of my life decisions around those two things. I grew up in Brisbane in Australia, and my first stint overseas, I did a Euro trip when I was 19, was hooked after backpacking for a couple of months. I then did an exchange in California. So I lived on campus at a college in San Jose in the Silicon Valley, which was amazing. And every travel experience I had just increased my appetite for more. So when I went home, finished my degree, did a bit of work, and then I moved to London. I was there for 2 years, travel writing there as well. So combining my two loves, which was amazing, working for different publications and building a blog of my own. Then I moved to Amsterdam for a year, and did some South America for a couple of months before coming back to Australia. But even since being back in Australia, I've worked for a travel company. I've done every space camp, and still kept the torch alive, really, because I just think it's so important. Traveling is such an expansive thing to do for anyone, and definitely a huge factor in my writing. You know, having those deeper understandings of different people and different cultures, it really just helps you put yourself into the position of different people, and having that exposure to everyone in those lifestyles. It's just such a positive thing to do.
And starting your business, you must have had down moments. What do you do when these happens on a mindset level?
Oh my gosh, mindset. I mean, as I'm sure you know, mindset in business is so important. And I've actually had a few attempts at freelancing before I had my final sort of leap into it 4 years ago. So living over in Europe and freelancing from there. I was hardly making ends meet. I was traveling a lot, which was amazing, but not getting paid that well for it. So when I left full-time employment 4 years ago, I was really conscious of making sure my mindset was always in a really solid place. It's also been a really important thing for me to make sure I had enough financial backing to feel like I could take the leap, you know, have that sort of parachute, as I sort of say, you know, when you take the leap, and that helps me make decisions that are better for my business. So I can say no to clients that I don't feel aligned with, and I can charge for, you know, the services at the rate that I know I'm worth, rather than lowering my prices. Because once you get into that sort of mindset of going, you know, into that lack mentality, that's when things get really sort of dangerous and really stressful. So if I'm ever feeling a bit fearful, I take some time out of my business. I go outside, I walk, I listen to podcasts like this one, ones that have like inspiring stories from other business owners who have gone through tough times, come through tough times, and just recalibrate, and then just jump back into it, really.
How do you get your new clients?
It's funny, I would say 90% of my client base has been word of mouth. And that's just an accumulative thing that happens over time. When I went out on my own at first, you know, I made my own website on Squarespace, you know, shared it on my socials, got a few jobs here and there. But when you do a good job for someone, that is such a valuable, like, I think a lot of copywriters don't quite understand just how valuable that is, because in this industry as well, people move around a lot. So if you do a good job for one client, they might get you back in for another, and then they might move to another business and contact you from there, you know, and then your network really grows from there. So a lot of it's been word of mouth, just through accumulatively, unknowingly planting seeds for my work and having people sort of those spring up when you least expect it. Really, it's great.
What about ads and cold outreach? Have you thought about that?
I've actually never had to do that. I've always been at a good capacity. I've managed to grow my income significantly year on year for Right on Brand, which has been amazing. But I am also working on another business at the moment that's in its early stages called Create Your Living. And because I created a course at the beginning of this year called Use Your Words, which is for writers who want to take the leap into freelancing. So it's a 5-part framework covering off mindset, all the practical sides of things, how to optimize your LinkedIn, how to approach clients, how to pitch, how to talk money and navigate all those conversations, all the things that, you know, you have to do from a business lens when you're a writer, but you might not have the confidence to do or the experience in. So that course has been going really well. And off the back of that, I'm working on a new business that's going to be a network for self-employed women of all industries, having courses and resources on things like money mindset, confidence, and the things that everyone struggles with. And for that business, because it's a whole new business for me, I am looking at emails and other ways of getting leads, because that's a whole new world for me.
So it's a mastermind, right? For women. Okay.
Yeah.
So for that, do you know Chief, the Mastermind Chief?
No, I don't think so.
So it's the #1 mastermind for women CEOs. So what I would do, I would get or scrape the full members of Chief. They announce themselves as Chief. And I think the domain is chief.com, by the way. They got that literally. And
Mm.
I would send a cold email campaigns to them. I actually do that for my own mastermind business.
Yeah.
I don't only target women. I target like anyone ambitious, 1% out there, and yeah, works pretty well. So that could be a good strategy. How much are you gonna charge for that one? And what is the actual product gonna look like?
Yeah, so I'm still working that out. So at the moment, so Use Your Words, the course for writers, to my email list and people who get in when the doors open, I give it to them for $4.97 AUD. But if anyone else is coming, it's set up as an evergreen as well, but the price point is a bit higher. So it's $6.97 AUD if you're trying to enter outside of the intakes. And there's going to be another intake for Use Your Words early next year. But as for Create a Living, I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be like a membership model yet, or if you can sort of buy the resources and buy the courses sort of a la carte or sign up for the membership. I need to workshop that. Let me know if you have any ideas.
I do. All individual and have like one top package, which would be your like highest ticket offer, which is like 10K plus. Me, the mastermind, the lessons that I had so far, because I started it 16 months ago or something like that. And I tried the free strategy and that didn't work. Meaning that I would interview people on these podcasts and was like, yeah, you're great. You should be part of that mastermind. It's free. And what happens is that, and I had paid editions, right? Like I have level96.com, which is free. Level 97 is $1,000 per month.com, and level 98 is, I think, 5K a month or something like that. And basically what would happen, people would not show up actually, because it's free, right? They don't have any incentives to show up. So when they pay, they're kind of forced to show up to try to monetize their investment. So don't do that mistake, which seems pretty obvious in hindsight, but it was an interesting experiment. So now I think the level 96 and the entry door is going to be 600 a month or 500 a month. I think it's very low ticket. And people have a taste of it. And if they want something higher and better, then they can go to the next one that I have. And then the value is accountability, it's insights, and it's support, right? Because it's really lonely and hard at the top. I often talk about founder mental health, the fact that, people struggle and have like literally zero support, not even from their spouse, because their spouse are not entrepreneurs. And you pack all of that up in a mastermind, 30 minutes a month. You include the notes. You have an AI take the notes and even keep track of their goals. And you have a product. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. Love that.
Would yours be similar? What other features would it have?
Yeah, I think, and I really, that sort of aspect of community and support is a really big one. So yours, because I was also tossing up whether to make it sort of self-paced or sort of entry level, and, having that monthly thing for everyone to check in. The Use Your Words course at the moment has been self-paced, and that has been good for that demographic, because some of them are mums and they need to work it around that schedule. Some of them are still working full-time in other roles. So that has worked for that. But you want to make sure people are staying engaged as well. So it's a bit of a balance, right?
Right. And your course, so you told me it was $399 or something like that for the course?
So $497 for my email list subscribers, and then $697 if you're coming in somewhere else. Okay.
And do you do any advertising for that one?
Hardly yet. So it's all been very organic at the moment, because it was in its pilot round early this year, but I got 12 people in paying for its pilot round, just purely organic. And, I've never nurtured like an audience on my Instagram or anything. So I was really happy with that result. But now I'm at the phase where I'm making a lead magnet for it, focusing on growing the email list and looking at advertising as well.
One strategy that I use this podcast for is that you can talk to pretty much anyone. So you could talk to your ICP, and then what I do, I've been doing it lightly in the past couple of weeks, but it's remarketing, and I'm about to turn the knob up like quite intensively on that one. So everyone that visits one of my site, they will see YouTube videos again and again and again, because humans, they just forget pretty much everything, you know, like you and I will speak, but you in 6 months, you know, I won't even be part of any of your thoughts. But if you constantly see a video of mine saying, hey, Illy, you should join my mastermind, or you should try this cold email thing. And every time that I show you a video, it's added value, it's me teaching you something, then you'll be like, okay, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I might book a call with him. So that seems to be a top strategy as well.
Yeah, definitely. I find podcasts, I've been on a few now, just guesting. And as you said at the start, like the growth from podcasts and people coming to you who hear you on that, because obviously they get a chance to get to know you a little bit and get a feel for your vibe. And if that resonates with them, you know, they're really likely to, you know, want to buy from you as well.
Yeah. And every time you have a guest, they also refer you to others. So it's like, who can come on my pod that has an audience that would be interested in buying what I have to sell? It's not purely about that. There's like learning and there's fun, but yeah, that it's part of the portfolio strategy there. So you have a lot going on your end. You have the agency, you have the courses, you have the mastermind. What are your top goals to finish off the year in strength?
Yeah, I do have a lot going on. I am really happy. I've had like a record quarter for Right on Brand. So I've got one big project that's going to take me through to the end of the year, and a few other little bits and pieces. So I'm really happy with that quota. My priority is getting my Create Your Living lead magnet up, and you use your words, just continuing to grow that list in preparation for the next intake in January. And that'll be me until the end of the year.
And last question for you, next year and the future, what do you predict will happen in the copywriting world? I cannot say that it is far-fetched that an AI would replace most copywriters. If I upload a Lizzy and a Charles and Hemingway and top copywriters into one bot, what would prevent that bot for not writing the greatest sales letter or cold email ever?
For sure. I think in terms of AI, you know, there's like that saying that it's like you're not going to be replaced necessarily by an AI, but by someone who can use it. So that's going back to that point I said before of, you know, all copywriters should be getting really, really familiar with this technology. Don't resist it. Knowing it inside and out is the best way to also know how you can add like a bit of a human touch and know how to prompt it. Like the skill, I think increasingly is going to be knowing how to prompt and get them, and then continue to prompt it until it reaches the standard of quality that you would feel comfortable sending to a client.
So do you think you're going to be replaced?
I don't think completely, because I think even though, you know, we're in this space and we're obviously all over it, so, you know, we're really comfortable with it, but there are a lot of small business owners, a lot of people within larger organizations who still feel like it's a very foreign technology and they don't really get it. Another really big thing that I found is the clients that I get often, they don't even know what they need to know. They don't even know what they need to ask. They don't even know what they need to do. And that's where the value, well, for us, will always remain, because that's a skill that they're never going to quite grasp.
100%. We're kind of middlemen's and middle women's. Love it. Where can people find out more about you, Lizzy?
So the easiest would just be to go to my Instagram. So it's at Lizzy Mulherin. Yeah, you can include a link because the spelling of my last name is a bit long, but you can find everything from my link tree, and from that profile, it's all linked through there.